did a survey of delegation coordinators on the overall experience at the event, and part of the questionnaire was your views on the registration process. We got some very useful input from that and from our own people, because our own people had to operate the system, and so we got some experience out of that. So what has been developed by our team, and it's very much a team effort within the Secretariat, has built on the advice that we have gotten from you, our own experiences. But that's not the end of the story. One of the lessons learned is that we need to come to you early enough in the process so that we can have the time to really evaluate any suggestions you make and take it on board before we put the program in final. So we've asked you here today for that purpose. You will be hearing a bit more, I think, when Fabrice speaks about the reasons we're doing it in the way we are and the benefits to you. He'll be explaining to you how we'll be moving from a system where registration was member-based as opposed to individual-based. So you know now, if you want to go onto the website, you have one credential, one password for the entire mission. Somebody leaves your mission, retires, goes on to a different job, they take it with them. So this will change that. And one of the nice things about this is by giving you personalized credentials, we'll also be able to give you more personalized services. Some of you may recall we've been talking for some time now already about deploying a system that we call e-subscriptions. We're not here to talk about that today, but the idea is if you are particularly interested in making sure you know the moment a committee document comes out, and a document on a particular issue, you'll be in the future be able to subscribe, and as soon as this document is released, you'll get a notice, an emailed notice, whether you were here, whether you're a delegate from Capitol, that will tell you that the document is available, and will give you a link so you can go directly to it. So this is about as far as you could go from where I started out, where we had to get these things and mail them back to Capitol or fax them back to Capitol, and watch our pigeonholes to make sure we didn't miss them. You'll have it instantaneously. And we're going to have a further meeting on that when we're ready to roll that out. But I just wanted to give you a flavor of the sorts of things that this new system is going to make possible for the future. So with that, let me turn the floor over to our experts. I'll start with Fabrice.
Thank you, Dave. Quickly show you who is on the stage right now. So Dave Shark, the DDG just spoke. So then you have from IT, I'm the IT director, Fabrice Boudou, and next to me is Anna Steflea, who is in charge of all the applications we built for you. On the other side of the stage, we have from External Relation, Bernie Quitten and Anne Lamy. So we are all the people who can answer most of your questions on what we're going to talk to you about right now. First, let me give you a bit of background. We launched a new e-registration for MC10, and our intention was to tweak the MC10 application to eventually manage the day-to-day registration of the delegates. So you managed to register for the ministerial, but it wasn't without some difficulties. Including the feedback you gave us, we decided to go with a completely new and simpler application. We still call it e-registration, but you're going to see it's rather new and simpler. Again, I'm going to remind you a bit like Dave just did, why are we actually going with a new registration application and replacing the legacy application you've been using for years before? The first objective or benefit out of this is to work on security. We have to get rid of the one ID, one password that is shared across the complete delegation, and switch instead to an individual ID and password. Just want to reassure you, we're not going to eliminate immediately the ID and password of the delegation. We'll only do this once people are familiar with the unique ID and password of the individual. So don't worry about this. The second benefit out of this is, as Dave mentioned, with an individual ID and password, well, we will be able to start offering individualized services. The most obvious example is the one just referred to Dave now, is the e-subscription, where as a delegate, you'll be able to set what you're interested in documents online. And every time a document corresponds to your preference, you're going to receive an email that tells you it's there. And you'll be able to click on that mail and see the document immediately. The launch of e-subs will follow the launch of e-registration, not immediately after, but soon after. Now let me talk to you about the objective of our meeting today. It's to give you a chance to see the new application that we plan to launch very soon. And this application will help you to keep up-to-date delegate profiles, visitors profiles, spouses profiles, etc. All the people from the delegation who need to come on site or who need to have access to WTO information electronically. It will also allow you to manage the delegation overall information, such as the address and the contact points. With this up-to-date information, well, pretty obviously, we'll be able to print out the badges. We will also be able to keep the e-directory up-to-date. And last, we will also use the information which, based on your decision, then we will set the access rights according to the decisions you will have made. So that's what it will do. And I want to quickly highlight two big changes we've implemented versus the first version of the e-registration we had for the ministerial. The first big change is that updating a delegate profile, you have a choice. You do it, or you let him or her do it. And if it's him or her doing it, you just have to approve what that person has done. So that's the first big change versus the other one. The second big change is the application is going to come preloaded with the information we already have on all delegations. So to start it, it's going to be much easier because already a lot of information is going to be there and you might not have to enter a lot of information to start with. After you've seen it, then we'll actually open the floor for a question and answer. And then we will actually share details for you to be able to test drive it or to come and see us to actually try it with us and ask us any questions. So we're going to leave at the end some details for you to be able to do this. Quickly, before we go into the demo, let me tell you what the next steps will be. Once we have gathered your feedback, we might need a bit of time to take them into account and to adapt the application. So we can't say exactly how long this will take, but hopefully not a very long time. And then we should be able to launch it. Obviously, with this launch, there will be associated communication and supporting documentation to help you go through the change. And once everybody is comfortable with this application, then we will start working on the next stage, which will be for the MC11. So with all of that, now let me turn to Anna, who's going to take you through a demo of the application.
So, good morning and welcome. We are very pleased to show you today the new e-registration system. As it is not possible to present you all the new features and you can't see all the details on the projector, I will limit the presentation to 3 scenarios. While rewriting the actual system you are using to manage the delegates, we had 3 goals. First, to update the technology behind the application. It is 10 years old. Second, to upgrade the design in order to offer you a modern, user-friendly new application, 3 languages, and mobile responsive. And third, to allow you to have an individual password, as Fabrice just mentioned before, in order to be able to access restricted material on WTO website or on the OL as well as personalized services like e-subscription. So let's start the presentation. Today I will be the delegation coordinator of Romania, which by the way is my native country. So I will log into the application as Miss Ana Leca. I will wear the head of the delegate coordinator of Romania. So log in the application. So inside the application, I can access my personal profile, manage my delegation, and access the e-directory. First, I would like to show you the e-directory. As a reminder, this is the place where you can access today all members and observers' delegations information. So let's say I would like to see Switzerland. So when I search for Switzerland here, I can see all the delegation list, the addresses, and the delegation coordinator details. We've tried to show the information as close as possible to the actual format, so you will not feel lost in front of the screen. What can I do more? I can print one delegation, the Switzerland delegation, or I can print the whole e-directory in English. As you may see, we have the index and then the details, and it is dynamic. I can print the whole e-directory in French. Or in Spanish. You may see that the name of the country is changing here, depending on the language I am on. So let's go back to English, and let's say now I would like to have a look to Sweden. As we know, Sweden is part of the European Union, so I have a quick reference here, and I can quickly jump to the delegation of EU. I can see the whole delegation, as well as the addresses, the footnotes, and the delegation coordinator detail. What I would like to show you, it's a new feature, la nouveauté, which is the global search. So let's say one day I met Mr. Delcourt, and I don't remember exactly to what delegation he belongs. So I have to search here, Delcourt, and then it will immediately appear that he is part of the Belgian delegation, and I can see here Mr. Philippe Delcourt, and I can have his contact details as well as his delegation coordinator details. So through this global search, it is quite easy to search all the delegation members and observers by name, by title, and even by contact details. So I'm done now with the e-directory presentation, and let's go back to the delegation coordinator interface. So I put back my hat of delegation coordinator of Romania. As I said, I can see my profile, manage my delegation, and access the e-directory. Let's have a look to my personal profile. Alors, Inside my profile, I have my personal information, postal information, contact information, and down here you can see there is a blue box. This is my status inside the delegation of Romania. So you can see that I'm a mission delegate and I'm the main delegate coordinator. Obviously, at any moment, you can change any of my information, and it will be automatically updated and immediately visible on the e-directory, which I just show you. In addition to seeing my profile information, I can see my badge information. So I have here a small label, badge, and if I click on it, I can see that as I am a mission delegate, I have an active badge, blue badge, which is valid from 2016 till 2019. And I am able also to update at any moment my informations on the badge. So coming back to the main options in the left menu here, I can also manage my delegation. So when I will click on my delegation, I will have 4 options. First, by default, I will see the delegation list. But I can also edit the delegation informations. What does it mean? I can edit all the details, the footnotes, the addresses, and again, as soon as you edit it, you update it, it will be directly visible on the e-directory. I could also access my pending requests and my invitations. I will come back later to pending request and invitation. For the moment, I would like to show you the delegation list. So let's go back to the delegation list. What do I see here? Here I'm seeing all the active members of my delegation. What does it mean, the active members of my delegation? In fact, these are the delegates currently working in our delegation. As soon as a delegate leaves our delegation, she or he will not be deleted from the database. She or he will become inactive. So here I have a filter showing me only the active one. With a rapid view, I can see their name, their status, their role in the delegation, the functional title, the contact details, the fact that they have or not access to DOL, and the fact that they are or not active.
Anna, do we just want to spell it? When we talk about DOL, that's Documents Online.
Yes, DOL is Document Online. Sorry.
We try to avoid acronyms as much as we can.
Through the list, I can access any of my delegate, active or not, and I can modify his profile. So I just need to click here. I could access the profile of the respective delegate, and I can modify any of his detail. Obviously, I can create a new delegate, which means I need to fill in all the important fields and click here, create a delegate. But for today, I imagined a different scenario. Let's say I need to create a new delegate, Miss Octavia Cherkez, who I remember had already worked for our delegation. So she must exist in the list of inactive delegates. So I do not need to fill again all the information. So what I will do, I will take out here the filter limiting my view only to active delegates. I will say I want to see all. And as the list is a bit long, I prefer to directly search Octavia. So as soon as I start here entering a word in the search box, the search will run immediately, and so I can see that yes, I have a record, Octavia Cherkez, which is an inactive record for the moment, and at that moment when she worked for our delegation, she was an other government official. So, for now on, I will make her active. This is very easy. I just have to click here, active, confirm. So she became active, and we can see that she was given access to the DOL automatically by default, so I have nothing to do. I just made her active, so now she's active. Currently, she's working now for us in Geneva, so she is not an other government official, she is a mission delegate. So I need to go inside her profile and change her status in the delegation. Currently, she is other government official, and I would like her to be mission delegate. So I click on mission delegate. She's just a mission delegate. She doesn't have any other role. So mission delegate, update. So let's go back on the list. Take out the filter which was searching for Octavia, and let's see what happened. Remember, before we had 3 delegates. So now I can see a 4th one appeared here in my list of active mission delegates. So it is Octavia Cherkez. She was inserted automatically, and she got the position 4. The last position on my list. So let's check if we can see that directly on the e-directory. Remember, it was my first. So I come to e-directory, I'm searching for Romania, and we may see that Octavia appeared on 4 position on the e-directory. So let's go back, and let's say I would like Octavia to be on the 2nd position in my delegate. So I just need to come here on the rank to set it to 2, wait a second, and then we can see now Octavia is on the 2nd position, and if I go again on the e-directory, I'm refreshing the e-directory, we can see now Octavia is on the 2nd position in the e-directory. So e-directory is dynamically and instantly linked to your modifications. Okay, so let's come back to, sorry, I was on the e-directory. So let's come back to our list. What can I do more for Octavia? So I reactivated her. I changed her status in my delegation, and I changed her position in the list, how she will appear in the e-directory. What can I do more? I could give her access to the WTO. For that, I need to create a badge. So I'm going back on her profile, and I'm going on her badge. So when I click the badge, I can see she doesn't have a badge for the moment, but some information, it's already pre-filled for me, her name and her status. So to create a badge, I need to set a start validity date and an end validity date, and then I can already create it. If I don't know her passport number, I don't need to worry about, because when she will come to pick up her badge in the BCI reception, they will fill the passport number for us, and it will be automatically in the system. So let's set the start validity date. Let's say my badge, she already started at 1st January 2017. And you may see you don't even need to enter the end validity. By default, the validity will be 3 years. So I just set the start validity date, and now I do create. So what we can see, we have a blue badge because she's a mission delegate, valid, to be distributed, waiting for her in the BCI. So she can come and pick it up. So as a resume, I reactivated Octavia. As a summary, sorry. I reactivated Octavia. I changed her status to a mission delegate. I changed her position on the list, and I create a badge for her. What can I do more for Octavia? So remember this idea of individual passwords and access to documents online, DOL. Setting individual passwords, it's a special secured function, and the delegate should set his password himself. But we need to be sure that it is the delegate himself performing this action and not somebody else. So we will send a secure invitation through an email directly to the delegate containing a secure token. This is an IT term saying it is secure. So the invitation can be used only from that specific email, and it will have 2 days validity. So it will not be valid forever. The delegates need to log in during the 2 days after receiving this email. So let's see how we can do that. You will see it's quite simple. So I go back on the profile of Octavia Cherkez. I would like to invite her in order to connect to the application. So let's say Octavia Cherkez doesn't want to receive all the communications on her official email address. It is her call, so she can do it. Let's say she would like to receive all her invitation and her unique login email address. She would like it to be different. So it will be Octavia Cherkez on yahoo.romania. So I just need to enter this unique login email information, update the profile, delegate successfully updated, and then I click send invitation. So everything is pre-filled for me. The email address is octaviacherkez@yahoo.ro. The name of the delegates is Octavia Cherkez, and now I send the invitation. So where are we? We are on the option invitations here. So we are on the screen invitations, and we can see that a new invitation automatically appeared, informing us that me, Ana Leca, I invited Mrs. Octavia Cherkez. The invitation is not yet used, and the invitation will expire in 2 days. Okay? So now I will put the head of Octavia Cherkez. So I am the delegate. I've just received an email from eRegistrationWTO.org inviting me to connect to the system. So I would like to show you what the delegates need to do. So I will go on my internal machine here, sorry, because I need to access my emails. I will keep the demo. I will come to my emails. So here we are. The last email I received, it is coming from eRegistrationWTO.org. And when I open it, it says, hello, Mr. Octavia, you have been invited to connect to the e-registration platform. Please click on the link below to register. So she has nothing to do, just click here, register. Sorry. So when she will click here, a web browser will be opened, her email address will be pre-filled, and now she can set her password and confirm her password. There is a small smart option here. If I would like to keep my ID in the system with my email address, which is a bit complicated, each time I will need to put my email address, I can do it. But I could also opt to have a username which will be more user-friendly for me. In this case, I will say, okay, my username will be Octavia. So now I'm choosing my password, my individual password, which will be useful then to access to WTO.org, to DOL, to Docs Online, to all restricted material reserved for members. So, and here you are. So this is what the delegates need to do. You just need to open the email, click on register, the browser will be open, set its username, his password, and then he will receive a confirmation email. Starting from now, me, Octavia Cherkez, I have my password set with WTO, and I can access all the restricted material and all the personalized services that we will offer to you. So this is the end of the second scenario. So my third scenario, I would like to show you how can I set an head of delegation inside my delegation. So I will go back to my hat of Ana Leca, Delegation Coordinator of Romania. So coming back on the list here, you may see, by the way, that Octavia Cherkez used her invitation now. Before it was not used, so you may see at any moment when somebody used your invitation. So you may have a... So coming back to the list, you may see here that Mr. Verița is today the head of delegation. So if we check, true, he has an active badge, a red one. And let's say I would like from today Mr. Krloja to be the head of delegation. So you may see today he is the alternate delegate coordinator. So setting a head of delegation, it's the only modification which needs WTO approval. If not, you can modify any information for a delegate. For example, now I will just go inside the profile of Mr. Krloja, And I will say he's not the alternate delegate coordinator anymore. So I just take it out, do update, and I can see immediately the delegate successfully updated. And now Mr. Kurloja, he's not the delegate coordinator. So that modification doesn't need WTO approval. On the contrary, if I will say now that Mr. Kurloja becomes the head of delegation, I will check it here. I will need to attach an accreditation letter, which is simple. I just open, browse my computer, I will attach the accreditation letter. I will need to attach a CV. Again, open, browse, attach. And preferably setting the date from when he was accredited to be the head of delegation. Let's say it's 1st of February. And then I do a date. Let's see what's happened. So you may see here there is a pending request. So today the current profile, Mr. Kurloja, is still not the head of delegation. His current profile, he still has his badge blue, but there is a pending request where I can see immediately what is the modification, the fact that we request head of delegation and accreditation date. So there is a pending request waiting for approval, for WTO approval. So now what I need to do is to go, and on the list you can see here that there is a pending request on Mr. Kurloja waiting for approval. It's in orange. You can access it directly from here. What I need to do also is to go on Mr. Vieritsa and take out his head of delegation, because now it is Mr. Kurloja. So I will go on Mr. Vieritsa and I will take out the function. He is also permanent representative, but I'm taking out only head of delegation and update. So you may see again there is a pending request requesting a changement on the head of delegation. You may see that his current profile, he is still head of delegation because it was not yet approved. And so his current badge, it's still a red badge. So now let's ask my colleague David to put the head of admin WTO and to approve from his mobile phone. So he doesn't need to have a PC. He has his mobile phone, and he will approve our 2 requests of changement of head of delegation. So coming back to my list of delegation, he just approved it. I'm coming back, I refresh my list. I can see that there is no orange here, so there is no pending request anymore. That Mr. Vieritsa, it's not HOD anymore, and Mr. Emilian Kurloja is the new HOD. Okay, and if I go inside his profile, I can see now there is no pending request anymore, and his badge become a red one, and the status is to be distributed. That means that the blue one became inactive, and he has a new badge waiting for him in the BCI to be picked up. So, and if I go on Mr. Vieritsa, the same. I can see he doesn't have the pending request anymore. His profile was updated. He's not HOD anymore, and also his badge is not a red badge anymore. He has a blue badge waiting for him to be distributed in the BCI. So what can I do more? Now, because Mr. Kurloja is the head of delegation, I need to have him on the first position on my list. So I changed the rank to 1. I can see it immediately. He is on the first position. And I can go on the e-directory to see it live. Mr. Kurloja is now first on the list. So the demo ends here. We will open now the floor to question and answer. Before that, just one more word. We encourage you to contact us through the email that will appear lately, so we can set up a personal demo to you, because today I just show you like 10 or 20% of the application. We can set up with pleasure a personal demo to you, and we are looking forward to hearing your questions and your feedback. It will be easier for us. And if you do contact us and you are interested, we can give you an access to the system, and you can play with the system as I did today before we'll go live. And you will have the real data for you to play with them, and you can get used to the system, and then obviously before going live we'll set up again the real data. So no problem, you can play with it. Thank you very much.
Anna, before we go to questions, we are going to, before this goes live, we are going to send out more detailed written instructions, right, Anna?
Sorry?
Before this goes live, we will send out detailed written instructions to everybody,
Yes.
so they can come and see you now.
Yes.
If they would like to learn more about it, to provide us input. But don't worry, you don't need to become level 7 experts on it. You will get written instructions before this comes out.
Now just, we hope that our goal was to make a very user-friendly application. So we hope it is a bit self-explaining, and we will also publish directly in the application some videos showing you how to, and a user guide, a dynamic user guide. So we hope that with all of that, you will be more or less autonomous from the beginning. Thank you.
Okay, so now the most important part from our standpoint is we want to offer the floor to you to ask any questions or make any comments you might wish. Lithuania.
Thank you so much for a presentation of the system. It's really helpful, and I'm looking forward to start using that. And I'll ask you to apologize me if I skipped that part in your presentation while taking notes. But is there a shortcut to the directory of the WTO phone book, which we used to have at the old version, and which the delegation coordinators tend to use quite often? Thanks.
So no, you didn't skip that. I didn't show it. So you will have a shortcut directly to the e-directory, which means all the delegation members and observer information. And for the staff, the part referring to the staff, it will be in a second step. So for now on, we would like to have a stable application to be able to go live with this part. Then we will try to do the ministerial part, and then on third step, we will do internal stuff. So you will have access to all the information, the rest of information. But it will be somehow late in the year.
Okay, Singapore?
Thanks very much, and thanks very much for the very quick demonstration of the new application. I was wondering, with the new application, you mentioned earlier on that instead of a one delegation, one login detail, it would be a one delegate, one set of login details. And I was wondering if the one delegation, one login details will still continue to exist. I ask because some of the capital-based delegates, they don't necessarily attend meetings in Geneva, but they still need access to WTO documents, and hence the question. Thank you.
So, in principle, you don't need, here I showed the creation of a mission delegate, somebody who is supposed to come to Geneva. But in case of you would like only to give him access to a password, to an individual password, you need to create this delegate as a other government official to send him the invitation, and that's it. So there is no badge, no, he will be invited to connect to the system, and that's it. Then he will have his password. Now, to answer your question, yes, in the first time we will keep the generic password, one password for the whole delegation, with an aim of eliminating them. Obviously, we can't force everybody to go inside and to connect immediately, so you will have some time, but our aim is to eliminate this generic password. Why? Because they are not secure. So it's not a point to have individual password, but to still have a generic password used by everybody and which give you access to the restricted material. This means it's not secure. So our aim is to eliminate the generic password in the future.
This ties in, as I was saying at the beginning, to some of the personalized services. You could have somebody in Capital who is following a particular committee who never comes to a meeting but needs access to the document. This will allow them, once we launch e-subscriptions, to do that, and also to enjoy the benefits of other personalized services that we'll roll out. But we don't want to do this suddenly in a way that people that need access to documents all wake up one day and it's gone. There'll be plenty of notice before we switch that feature off. Okay, the next person I have on the speakers list is a representative from Brazil.
Well, thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much for the presentation. And I just think my question was stolen by Esther, because it's the same one. So, as posed by Singapore, because we also have many people back at Capital at Brasilia who needs to have access to documents online and et cetera, et cetera. So, it's the same question. I mean, you already answered that. Thank you.
Okay, and again, we don't intend to rush delegations. We want to do this in a pace that's comfortable for everybody. Okay, the next speaker is Representative of Peru.
Thank you very much, and also thank you for all the hard work behind this, and of course for the presentation. First, my two questions are related to the notification system. The first one is related to what I'll try to call a mission account, because at least in my delegation, normally there's a mission email, so that normally all airgrams directed to the mission are sent to this mission email account, and then they are distributed. I see that this would change, and the airgrams would be, if I understood well, directed to the delegates. But I think my mission would also be willing to have a notification on that particular issue. I don't know if you explained that, but please, if you have any clarification on this matter. And the second one is related to the default value for notifications of documents. I mean, when you register as a delegate, what's the first value that comes for the notifications? Do we receive all notifications concerning all the areas of interest of WTO or of work of WTO? or do we get nothing at the beginning and then we just have to click on the matters that we're following, particularly as delegates? And a brief third question would be, what would be the email we have to send in order to play, as you said, with the system and the application? Thank you so much.
So for the first one about a generic or email that you would like to keep to receive the diagrams, at the mission level, there are some generic attributes. You can have such an email for just the mission. It is not the one that you use then to actually customize what you want to get out of door. It's a generic email. Using this for diagrams, then it's actually a decision when we do this, but we can actually use a generic email if you provide it into the generic information. I can answer also the third question about the email that you can actually contact. We're going to put it on the screen after the Q&A, so it will be shown in a second. I can show it now, of course, yes. Here it is. Sorry, I didn't catch the second question.
So the email is e-registration demo at WTO.org.
If you could repeat the second question, sorry.
To make sure we get answers to all of it.
Of course. Thank you. The second question is just related to what's the default value for notifications that are sent to our emails as delegates. I mean, when we just register as delegates, do we need to click? What's the first step? Do we have to click on the matters that we want to receive notifications on, or do we need to just, normally the default value is that at the beginning we don't get any notifications unless we click on some notification cases or boxes. That's the question. I don't know if I explained myself well, but let me know, please.
You explained yourself well, but you're jumping ahead to e-subscriptions, which we are not ready to roll out yet. And when we do, we'll explain how to do that. By the way, we would actually encourage members to have a generic mailbox for their delegation, because we've been aware for quite a while that we're living in the dark ages when it comes, in some respects, to communicating with you, sending faxes out rather than sending things by email. So by having those generic mission addresses, it'll facilitate a move, but we've been waiting until we have these individualized addresses in order to do that. Okay, so the next mission with Floor is that of Norway.
Yes, thank you very much for the very nice presentation. I have 3 questions. The first one is just to make it clear, so when you're creating individual passwords for each delegate, will there still be today coordinator who will enter all this information, or each person has to modify themselves? Like, for instance, the head of delegation obviously will not go inside to modify anything, because this usually will be handled by the assistants. So that's my first question. And the second question is, when you do the global search, will it only give you matches for the active status? Like, for instance, the example was given, if the name comes up of someone who is not working anymore, will it then show? And my third question is, for the visiting delegates or the people from the capital, can you choose the duration of the badge validity, or is it something that's made by default? Thank you.
Okay, I'll take the first question, and then Anna will take the following two. So that's exactly the issue we had the last time. Was actually it was forced on the delegates to fill up the information. In this new application, it's either or. You choose. So for the head of delegation, just like you said, it's very likely that the delegate coordinator will fill up the complete information. And then if the heads of delegation needs an email to log in himself, then you can send the invitation. For another delegate, you can fill up more than the basic information, just an email, send them the invitation and let them fill in the information for their personal profile. So it's really your choice as a delegate coordinator what you want to let them enter in the application. When somebody else enters information, you can then validate it or not as a delegate coordinator. So I hope this answered the first point. And then the two other questions, Anna?
So just to say a word more, you already have all the delegates already existing. They are in the database, even the inactives one, because we migrated from the current system to the new system. So I didn't show you, but for example, the USA delegation has like 400 people inside. So now for the new ones, it's as Fabrice precise before. So second question was on the global search on inactive people. So the global search on the e-directory, it's concerning only e-directory, so only active people. Now, the global search inside the delegation, in your delegation, you can do it on active or inactive people. So now, we will see, after we'll go live, we'll have a stable application. We are done also with the ministerial. We are done also with the internal staff. We may come with a phase 2 where we include some feedbacks. For example, if more than one delegation thinks that it's good to have a global search through all the delegation, active and inactive delegates, we can do it. It could be a phase 2. So third question, it was about the badge validity. So we set a default function when you put a start validity date, it will give a 3 years end validity date. Now, if you want to change the end validity date to put a shorter one, you can do it. It was just to help you to not have need to set 2 dates.
Okay, I would just add to that Anna mentioned that you can shorten the default date. I do not believe you would be allowed to lengthen the end date. This is a security feature. We want to have you at least reconfirm every 3 years that the person is still with your delegation. In some cases, people are busy. They don't get around to telling us when people are gone, and they then have access to things perhaps that they shouldn't have. Okay, now I'd like to turn over to Tunisia.
Merci beaucoup. C'est très intéressant. Moi, je pense que pour plusieurs coordonnateurs de délégation comme ma délégation, une seule personne qui couvre les questions de fond et les questions de logistique, ça va aider. Par contre, moi, je parle d'une expérience qu'on a vécue pendant la dernière ministérielle, un système semblable à ce qu'on a vu aujourd'hui. Il y a moins de flexibilité dans le cas où on envoie une invitation à quelqu'un, et pour une raison ou une autre, c'est le cas du ministre par exemple, ils veulent que le coordonnateur ou la mission fasse le badge pour eux. On a trouvé des difficultés parce que je ne peux pas obliger mon ministre à répondre ou à faire... Donc ma question est, est-ce que ce genre de flexibilité pourrait être prévu pour que le coordonnateur de la mission, de la délégation, pourrait se substituer à quelqu'un qui a été invité pour lui faire son badge. Parce qu'on a eu cette difficulté pendant la dernière ministérielle. Si quelqu'un il refuse je ne peux pas l'obliger à le faire. Donc, parce que le système est fait de la sorte, l'invitation est envoyée, il faut qu'il y ait une réponse pour que le badge ait lieu. N'est-ce pas? Merci.
Donc je vais répondre. Ce que vous nous présentez, c'était le cas avant. Justement, dans la nouvelle application, nous avons ce que j'ai eu aujourd'hui dans la démo, l'invitation est uniquement pour le password, individual password. Le badge a été créé par le Delegate Coordinator pour un délégué ou pour le HOD. Et donc, le HOD ou le délégué n'a absolument rien à faire. Il ne doit pas aller dans le système. Le badge, il est créé par le Delegate Coordinator. Et le badge est en attente au BCI à être pris. Tu veux que je dise sur l'invitation? Non. Okay. Juste pour revenir, si quelqu'un n'a pas besoin d'un password, il pourrait ne jamais être invité. Il existe dans le e-directory, il existe dans la délégation, mais il n'a pas besoin d'être invité. Il n'a pas besoin de toucher à l'application, quoi que ce soit.
Could I just mention also, I mean, your question came out of your experience with the ministerial conference. And we will, once we have this day-to-day application up and running and we've made sure there are no bugs that need to be corrected, we will subsequently roll out for you the application that we'll use for MC11. It will look very familiar because it will be based on this, but we'll come to you with further information on that. But we were very much aware of the problems like the one you encountered, and that was one of the things we set out to try to correct this time around. Okay, now we turn to Slovenia.
Thank you, and thank you for a very good presentation of something that looks very useful and probably will simplify lives of many people. My question relates to access rights to actually enter or modify members of a delegation. If I understand correctly, this right is given only to the delegation coordinator. And since now it's the time of flu, maybe it's my personal experience, these things happen. And the question is, did you envisage like an alternative so that the delegation coordinator can give similar or less rights to somebody to replace in case of, medical or other absence? Thank you.
The answer is yes. You have a delegation coordinator alternate. In fact, it's not a delegate. You have a role of alternate, and you may have 10 alternates if you would like to. In one click, you set somebody to be an alternate delegate coordinator. And then when you don't need it anymore, with one click, you take it out.
Okay, I'll offer the floor to Delegation of Moldova.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you very much, Anna, for your presentation. Thank you, and we congratulate the whole team for the new system, which is very useful, and I look forward to use it. I have a couple of questions. I apologize first of time because maybe I skipped that part of presentation at the beginning when it was mentioned that the global, the whole system. I would like exactly to know if there is an opportunity for us to all member states to have the kind of blue book that we have in the United Nations, because sometimes it's really very difficult for the assistant of the ambassador, of the head of delegations, to have all the list of the heads of delegations. We know exactly that we have around 39, 40 or 41 approximately heads of delegations separate accredited for WTO, and the others are covering United Nations and other international organizations as well. So from this point of view, we would like kindly to ask if it's possible to have an update, or I don't know exactly, maybe a different window, different type of system that we can accede to that kind of blue book, and to have not all the whole list of heads of delegation updating, but to have all the staff accredited for WTO as well. I know that we can go to the country and to see the members which are accredited. But I would like to see if we can have all the information in one document. Thank you. And the second question regarding the interns that sometimes we have at the mission. We need to obtain a badge for them as well. So actually, until now, they had the opportunity to receive a badge for 3 or 6 months. Depends. Sometimes 1 year, but no more than 1 year. So it will be the active mandate of the interns for those who are charging for the internships. Will they be included in the same system, or it will be a different possibility for them to get the badge and to get the access to the system as well? And the third question, I apologize for the third one, but we had the same problem that my colleague from Tunisia had of the ministerial conference in Nairobi. Je vais parler en français quand même parce que c'est les mêmes pensées, donc les mêmes problèmes qu'on les a eu comme Tunisie. En fait, par exemple, pour la ministérielle, je ne sais pas quel sera le système pour Buenos Aires, mais quand même, le système de Nairobi, il a eu quelques difficultés pour les coordinateurs nationaux. Je vais vous expliquer pourquoi. C'est par exemple, il y avait des systèmes où que le coordinateur national était obligé de s'enregistrer et c'est lui qui était en charge pour, par exemple, prendre l'invitation de ministres, l'agenda et tout ça. Moi, par exemple, j'étais le coordinateur national pour Nairobi, mais d'un problème technique qui était créé avec l'avion, je n'ai pas arrivé au temps. C'est mon ministre qui était arrivé première. Il était arrivé à l'aéroport, il était bloqué. Il m'a appelé, mais Corina, moi je ne peux pas prendre mon badge, je peux prendre ma invitation parce que c'est toi dans le système, je ne peux pas accéder. Je me présente comme le head de delegation, donc le chef de la délégation, mais ils ne me donnent pas rien du tout parce qu'ils nous disent qu'on a besoin de ta autorisation pour faire ça. Et il m'a essayé de m'appeler le matin, je ne l'ai pas répondu parce que j'étais dans une réunion. Il est resté 2 heures à l'aéroport bloqué parce que c'était pas le coordinateur national qui était en charge pour faire tout le travail là-bas et il avait plaqué même. On espère d'éviter cette situation pour la ministérielle qui arrive cette année. Et on vous remercie pour le nouveau système. Merci et je m'excuse pour les 3 questions. Merci.
Yeah, let me take a stab at 2 of them. First, there's no need to apologize. We're here to take your questions. On your first question, it goes back to a pet peeve of mine. I was a delegate at the time. We used to have a blue book here, and then the decision was made to go electronic. And if you wanted to print things out, you had to go delegation by delegation, one at a time. So I spent a lot of time yelling at the head of the division that I'm now temporarily heading to try to get that fixed. So now there is a feature which I think Anna showed a little bit earlier where you can say print all. So we'll print out the entire book in any of the 3 official languages. What we really can't do is go back to printing off the blue book because we are under a mandate from the General Counsel at the advice of the Budget Committee to cut back on the amount of paper we print. But that capability is there. On your last point, can I please ask that we hold off on the issue of how the application will work for ministerial conferences? I can assure you right up front that we're very much aware of that problem. We'll have an answer for you. But I would rather that we lay out for you the entire thing so that I think a lot of questions you might have would be answered by the presentation when we're ready to do that with you. Let me give the floor back to Anna to take the second question.
So, first on your first question with the blue book, it's not even so practical to have a book because then you will have a book but you don't have a search through the book, so you need to search like this. While in the application I didn't take the time because it will be too long, you could put head of delegation and have every head of delegation as a result of the list and you could print it. So, second question about the intern's badge. I didn't take the time to show you, but as we activated a blue badge or a red badge, we can activate for any member of the delegation, not only for mission delegates, the one who could represent our country, but also for other government officials. Let's say there is a Minister of Agriculture wanting to come to Geneva to visit the building, so you activate a badge, and it will not be a blue badge for an intern, it will be a regular visitor badge with his name, etc. And when he will come to BCI, it will be ready to be picked up. Third question was on... Can I say it in French? No, d'accord. Okay.
Wait, I have a question on the answer. I suspect a number of the delegations would want interns to be able to cover meetings for them. And if they're just listed as a visitor, are they going to run into a problem attending meetings?
You can choose whatever badge you want as a delegate coordinator, if you, except the red one, I guess, which is a bit more political. If not, you can choose whatever badge you would like to have them to have. And the validity also. 6 months validity.
Okay, so you would have the ability to click the box that would get them a blue badge, and they would be able to attend meetings if that was what you wished. Did we miss part of your question?
Mr. President, I apologize, just to emphasize one more thing, actually, regarding the interns. Of course, for those who are coming here to visit WTO and to participate one day, of course, it will be a different kind of badge, how it was until now. But for those who are working at the mission for 1 year, for example, it would be possible for the new team to establish a possibility to obtain the badge for 1 year and not 6 months, because they are attending the meetings, and after that, every 6 months, the national coordinator has to go inside and to obtain another badge. Thank you.
It's exactly what I said. You declare if you would like a blue badge for him, you declare him as a mission delegate, even if he's an intern. This is the title. And then you set up the validity period to 6 months, to 1 year. It's up to you.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Je vais juste aller droit aux questions que je voudrais poser. Alors, c'est par rapport au délai de 48 heures pour accepter une invitation. Est-ce que ce délai peut être modifié parce qu'il y a des problèmes de connexion dans certains pays? Cela peut porter préjudice, n'est-ce pas, à accepter ces différentes invitations. Une deuxième question, c'est de voir si on peut revenir sur la communication de Anna, notamment la page liste délégation. Il y a parfois, je ne sais pas si c'est un problème de traduction, parfois c'est en anglais, parfois c'est en français. Je ne sais pas si, si on rentre par exemple sur la version française et qu'on a peut-être les 3 types de langues, ça peut peut-être poser problème au niveau de la compréhension. Et enfin, c'est de savoir, est-ce qu'il y a la possibilité de savoir qui a consulté notre profil pour une délégation donnée? Est-ce que le Burkina peut savoir qu'Anna a eu à consulter, n'est-ce pas, son profil? C'est juste pour avoir ces précisions. Merci.
Avec plaisir. Pour les 48 heures, vous avez la possibilité de recréer une invitation, encore une invitation s'il y a eu un problème. Le fait est, étant donné que c'est une fonction sécurisée, nous, il est vrai que nous avons choisi, d'après les pratiques courantes sur le marché, ce délai de 48 heures. On pourrait l'augmenter, mais sinon, sans problème, vous pouvez créer une autre invitation et encore une invitation. Pour la deuxième question sur l'anglais et le français, l'application est très jeune. En fait, on a essayé de faire ce qu'on appelle dans le monde de la programmation adaptable. Donc, on est venu vers vous très tôt, au cas où vous avez du feedback. Donc, les traductions ne sont pas encore prêtes. C'est pour ça que je me suis abstenue de vous montrer trop en français français et en espagnol, les traductions ne sont pas prêtes. Et peut-être même l'anglais n'est pas 100% correct. On va vérifier tout ça. Et la troisième question, c'était...
Qui a consulté mon profil?
Ah, qui a consulté votre profil? On n'est quand même pas si avancé. Donc, on peut voir qui a modifié votre profil, mais qui a consulté votre profil. Et d'ailleurs, je ne vous ai pas montré, il y a une fonction qui s'appelle historique. Donc, vous pouvez avoir l'historique d'un profil et voir toutes les modifications sur un profil. Mais qui a consulté votre profil? Nous ne sommes pas encore là. Peut-être dans la deuxième version. Merci.
I think Jamaica comes next. Can I just say, I'm going to have to leave in a minute to chair another meeting, but my colleagues will stay here to continue with you until we've made it through all of your questions. Perhaps not Fabrice, since he has to go to the meeting with me.
Same here.
Okay, so Jamaica?
Thank you. Good morning. Three quick questions. One, will we now then be required to upload pictures for the creation of the badge? So will it be that it will no longer be necessary to go to the security desk to take the photograph, or will the photo system remain the same, that you can take the pictures at the security desk? That's the first one. The second one, will the steps shown for the delegates per se be the same for other mission staff, such as the chauffeurs and the messengers? What color badge will they have? What will be the system for registration of those members of staff? And also, will the process for electing the delegation coordinator be the same as what it was before, meaning we have to send a note verbal signed by the HOM, that is done via paper? Will that be the same? Thanks.
For the picture, I'm happy that you've asked this question, because I forgot to say you can attach the picture yourself, the delegate coordinator. The delegate himself, if he accesses his profile, can attach a picture himself, and also BCI can attach a picture in case the picture is not very good or not conform. You can attach a picture. You should see it like a database accessed by you, by the delegate, or by the BCA. The system is unique, and depending on your role, you have the right to do it in parallel with the BCI. For the badge, I couldn't show everything today. There is a status called mission employee. And so if somebody is a mission employee, his badge automatically will be a mission employee badge. So which has a special color, I don't remember, is something with yellow and so as soon as you've chosen the right status for somebody, for a delegate, for a person, the badge will change accordingly, the type of the badge. And third question was?
Who can be elected to be a delegate coordinator?
Who can be elected to be a delegate coordinator? So there is an IT answer and a bit of governance answer. For the moment, in the system, the current delegate coordinator could set another delegate coordinator and could take him out to be delegate coordinator. So it can be directly inside the delegation, and I guess for the governance we'll stick to the same principle. And by the way, for the ministerial, this will be set. The application will be the same, and this will be set well in advance. So the delegate coordinator for the ministerial will be appointed in the system. Then he will have access even from his mobile. So if the minister is already in Buenos Aires, you didn't arrive, you can still access and manage his badge, etc., etc.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Next on my list is Hong Kong, China. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. I just want to clarify some understanding, is that if we prefer to continue the practice that the delegation coordinator do all the registration and modification for the delegation, it is okay, right? And then if I invite a delegate or staff to do the registration himself, by giving him a password, he can do it. But the level of access authority is different. He can only access to his own profile. And then he cannot self-nominate himself to be the delegation coordinator. He cannot do that. And then once he do any modifications in his profile, will I be notified? Will the delegation coordinator knows once there's someone performs some modification in profile? Thank you.
Thank you for asking this question, because I didn't have the time to show everything. Exactly. When a delegate registered and let's say he changed something, any modification is submitted to your approval, delegate coordinator approval, and you will be alerted through an email. So you don't need to go on the system to check, do I have pending requests? You will be alerted through an email, and when you will click in the email, you will get directly to the pending request. So it's not that you will go in the system, then you have to search what is the delegate. It will bring you from your email, it will bring you directly on the pending request, and you have approve or refuse. So you approve it, it's approved. His modification, you refuse it, it's refused. And you can do it from your mobile phone also.
Thank you, Anna. Next delegation on my list here is Cameroon. Cameroon, you have the floor.
Merci pour la parole et pour toutes les informations. Je voudrais revenir simplement à la question du stagiaire. Apparemment, ça a alimenté beaucoup d'échanges. Je voulais savoir si dans le statut, dans la liste, vous n'avez pas prévu stagiaire. Parce que dans certaines missions, cela ne serait pas toujours bien vu que sur le badge, c'est écrit délégué alors que c'est un stagiaire. Est-ce que ce n'est pas plus facile de mettre simplement le statut stagiaire sur la liste des statuts que vous avez dans votre fenêtre? Merci.
Le statut, c'est une catégorie. Par contre, le fait d'être un stagiaire ou pas, c'est une fonction. Donc, et vous avez, je ne me suis pas trop retardée sur tous les détails, mais vous avez un champ qui s'appelle fonction. Et là, vous déclarez que c'est un stagiaire. De même, par exemple, pour un mission employé, vous pouvez déclarer que c'est un chauffeur, etc. Le statut, c'est une catégorie importante. Est-ce que cette personne-là, a le droit de représenter le pays dans un meeting? 2, est-ce qu'elle apparaît sur le e-directory ou pas? 3, est-ce que c'est un minister in charge of WTO, le ministre en charge de WTO? 4, est-ce que c'est un other governmental official? Donc il ne va pas venir à Genève, il ne va pas accéder au MIS, il va juste avoir besoin d'un passeport pour DOR. Et 5, est-ce que c'est un mission employé? Et ensuite, à part le statut, vous pouvez ajouter une fonction.
Merci Anna. Cette réponse était claire? Je crois, oui. Alors, la dernière délégation sur ma liste est Bulgaria. Bulgaria, you have the floor.
Thank Thank you very much and for the presentation. It's really useful. I recently used the system for the responsible trade minister. And I would like to know whether there will stay a separate link, a separate list of them, because it's a kind of notification also to the secretariat that this is the responsible minister and he is the addressee for your letters, invoices, etc. Thank you.
So this is one of those 5 categories. So there will not be separate links anymore. Everything it's in the profile, in one interface and in the profile. So you set somebody as being minister in charge of WTO, and if needed, the interface is configurable depending on the option you've choose. You may need to attach a letter, a CV for the HOD, the accreditation letter and CV, etc., etc.
Thank you, Anna. I'm just looking at my colleague Anne. Is that completely correct?
Well, for ministers in charge of WTO affairs, we don't need credentials. We just need to have the notification.
Okay, thank you, Anne. Are there any further questions?
Yes, Czech Republic.
Czech Republic, sorry, I didn't see you. You have the floor.
Good morning. Thank you very much for a quite useful briefing. I will have 2 questions. First one, it regards the trial period. If you can approximately estimate the length of this testing period, it would be just for general orientation. And the second question, I will be perhaps a little bit ahead because it concerns the opting in, opting out of the documentation, but it regards the faxes. Will we still continue after the subscription system is in operation? Will we still receive the paper faxes, or can we do away with the paper faxes? Because sometimes you depend on very old-fashioned fax machine, and if it is blocked, you can miss a meeting, informal meeting. So it would be also a recommendation from our side. Thank you.
So starting with the second question, this is a very dear question to our DDG, Dave Shark. He would like to get rid of the faxes. So anyway, we'll have all the information, so I hope and I guess we'll get rid as soon as possible. Now for the trial period, it depends also on you. As I said, we do adaptive programming, responsive programming. So if we receive messages from you saying you are not ready, obviously, we will wait a bit more. Now, it's clear that we all have the interest to go live as soon as possible because it's a ministerial year, and then after we go live with the day-to-day application, it will be a very useful test for us to see that the application is stable, and then we can insert the ministerial as a prototype, so you test it before. And once it's okay, we have all the feedback, we can set the ministerial. So as soon as it's a compromise. It's good to not stay very long, but if you need some time, obviously we will wait for you.
Can I just echo, Anna, that indeed, we are in a year where we have a lot of activities, but at the same time, this system stands or falls with its user friendliness, and if there are identified problems or issues, then we will deal with it. Let me also reiterate the offer from our IT colleagues. If you want a personalized demo, you want further applications or explanations of this particular system, there's an email address for it. Obviously, there are people behind these email addresses. You can approach them individually too. Are there any further questions or suggestions? If not the case, then I would like to thank you very much for your attention, for your suggestions and for your questions. Again, this makes the system only better. We're here to take those. So thank you very much for being here and have a good day.